Doctors, I want to share with you our next guest on the Concierge Medicine Forum. And this is an interview that you're not going to want to miss, and you're going to want to listen to it in its entirety. And it has a bonus too, which I'm really excited about. Our next guest and our next presenter here is Mitra Silva. She is the CEO and founder of Simour Design, and it's a healthcare interior design episode that we're going to talk and learn about how to wow your patients, and particularly the importance of interior design in your healthcare practice. You know, a patient waiting room and a chair from the 1990s, that's not going to cut it anymore for patients. And we have an expectation, and so many expectations are placed upon physicians these days, and there are a lot of distractions that arise from the moment the patient walks in the door, your door, to the moment that they finally sit down and kneecap to kneecap with the physician. And there's a lot of things on a patient's mind that get in the way and distract the patient from your overall message of health and wellness. And so there's things that you want to make sure that you're communicating to the patient, but yet they're so distracted by all of the setting, the insurance complexities, the conversations with your staff. And interior design has a huge, tremendous part of that process, and we want to make sure that you know all about it, especially because concierge medicine doctors are setting the example for the healthcare community about how healthcare should be and could be delivered. So let's lean in and listen to Mitra Silva of Simour Design. You're going to love it, and don't forget about the bonus. Well, our guest today is Mitra Silva. She is the CEO and founder of Simour Design, and you can look at simourdesign.com. It has some beautiful pictures. It's one of the best websites on healthcare interior design that we've ever come across here at Concierge Medicine Today. But welcome to the Docpreneur Leadership broadcast and podcast here at CMT.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having me.
So, Mitra, you're going to give us a presentation on how to wow your patients. And the idea of interior design in healthcare is something that, for a lot of physicians listening, it's an afterthought. It's something that, hey, look, I bought the building, I leased the space, I signed the contract. Interior design was not something that I was really on the forefront. I'm more concerned about treating patients, seeing patients right away, and getting my sign up and my website up, versus thinking about the paint colors, the chairs, the designs, you know, the cabinetry, and all of that type of stuff. So you're about to give us a presentation, and we're so excited, and I know that many of the doctors listening will be as well. And so Mitra, we're going to let you kick it off, but give us a brief overview, unless it's already built into your presentation, of your background in healthcare and in interior design in health.
Sure. Thank you, Michael. So for me, I think I wanted to say, instead of presentation, it's about sharing the experience of the last 18 years of being in the design and doing specialty of medical interior design. So just a little bit about me. I was a pre-med before I went to design school, so always had a passion for medical. And then as years passed by that I had to make a solid decision of which direction I want to go, I realized my other passion, design, is stronger. So I got my bachelor, started working on, you know, big project like Walt Disney Studios, like, you know, being in that big commercial, you know, hardcore projects. As years passed by, I realized, you know, I really like what I do, but I'm not loving it. The medical part was calling me, and I was feeling like I want to love what I do. So I was like, why don't I combine these two together? That's where the whole journey started. Now, you know, my company Simour, you know, I have a team of 12. We are super passionate and really dedicated to creating transformational and healing spaces around the world. For now, we're serving clients all over United States. So we have projects nationwide. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the experience of why healthcare interior design is so important for so many doctors. And we look like we have a lot of questions coming in. So we have, let's jump in. So we'll let you go ahead and screen share.
Sure, awesome. So I'm just gonna share my screen. So the title, I thought about it. I would really, it's been a very important and transformational way of thinking. I feel like it's a school of thoughts to think that way in the medical, in the design world. It's about how to wow your patients through interior design. So this is the title, and this is what I'm going to cover. And I will go step by step to really explain and help your audience and everyone to understand what does exactly mean and how it's related to interior design and medical.
Wonderful.
So what you're going to learn is what is the wow factor? What does that even means to wow the patients? And the second one is what is your why? Like knowing that core story and your why, how to connect it to interior design. And I have a little bonus that I want to give away to your audience as well. We talked about me, and just a little bit about me, and so I'm just going to dive into what does it mean to create a memorable patient experience, what that means, what is that wow factor. So there are three main elements when we talk about how to wow your patients. First of all is the psychology of it, and then is your why, and then your branding. It's not a number 1, 2, 3. This works hand in hand together. When we say wow your clients, it's not about something really luxury. It's not about something that is too out of ordinary. It's about the experience. It's about like how you can be able to emotionally make your patients to be connected to you. And to you, it can be a single doctor, it can be a group of doctors, it can be a medical practice. So no, that's why like the why is so important. Doesn't matter, is that medical entity or that if it's the individual, you have even more power to make that connections with your patient. So it comes from the intention, then it goes to the vision, and then mission, and how you can tie that to your branding. And at the end, you create an interior design and then space that is a representation and the tangible manifestation of all of the hard work that as a medical practitioner you've done. I'm talking about like, I'm sure if you have the specialty as a doctor, you went even more to school, spend all of your life to really building something amazing internally to just get the knowledge, get the expertise. But without really showing that in a very laser focused manner, is not going to make that emotional connections with your patient. So that's very important. We always tell our client, like, this is a process, by the way, we take our clients from the beginning to the end. In order to set yourself as a world-class doctors, it's not about the location, it's not about the specialty, it's all about this. So if you've been investing so much of your time and energy and money throughout the years, going to medical school, creating a practice, going through like hiring the staff and the team and the nurses and everyone else because you had a dream to serve. And if you really spend the time, and this is my invitation from this part, and my dream is for you to think about what's your vision. How do you want your patients leave your office after they're done with you and with your team and they experience your space? You know, what do you want that experience to feel like? And that's where you can work yourself backwards. And then like creating the vision, creating the mission, and tie that to your branding. We'll talk about it. I'll talk about it a little bit later. So let's go through this. First, it's about, so I kind of switched that from starting with your why. So starting your why is having a crystal clear vision. It doesn't have to be it can be as simple as you spend like a day or two or even a week, like just thinking about what is that vision that I want to have the day that I want to close my practice and retire. What kind of experiences do I want to have with my patients, with the money that I want to make, with the team that I'm creating? What kind of vision do I want to have for my family? So it's just all about you connecting yourself with your emotion first, and then coming up with like 1 or 2 sentences. It doesn't have to be fancy. It has to be starting point of something very rough, okay? And then you go through the process of like, and just, you know, for myself personally and helping our clients, first it's very blurry because you've been in it so much that it's so hard to get a crystal clear picture of the vision, okay? So be patient with that process. It's not an overnight thing. If you already have it, fantastic. Some doctors, they thought about it so many times, especially like going through so many training, going through so much of pain and experiences and failing and falling and getting back up. But just vision, your vision is the seed that you plant, okay? You want to make sure you think about it. It's very connected to your heart. Forget about everything else. Forget about the money, forget about the design, forget about anything else. It's just what makes your heart smiles and sing. Okay, and then how do you want to deliver that? Do you want to practice that is, I don't know, with like 3 staff, or do you want to practice with like 20 people? Like your mission has to be like, how am I going to take my vision? So for example, the mission is to transform or to heal your life through, let's say, if you're just a general doctor, it's like to give my patients the everyday health that they deserve. Okay, so the work on that mission, you can Google it. There's so many different formats to create that. It shouldn't be like too fancy or too complicated. And understanding who you're serving, that comes with your demographic of who are you serving. One of the reason I put that picture, this is one of our projects actually, and this client of ours found a 1,200 square feet space, loved the space, but the entry point was so bad. It was just entering to straight to the surgery room instead of going to the waiting room. So when we talk to our clients, like, what is your why? It's like, I want my patient to feel welcome, but can this space be the space? Okay, so if you see the line on the floor, it's called wayfinding. So psychologically, we pick up in the background of like how we can be guided to another place through design. So we designed this for our clients. There were 2 doctors, partners, and the lighting and everything else to tell their patients that, you know, we're giving our best. We want to guide you through the welcoming point. Okay, so even though there was some challenges, understand your demographic, understand their age point, understand what makes them happy, what makes them, what are their pain points as far as the patient. For example, if your demographic if you're an OBGYN, for example, or if you're a general doctor, and your demographic it's moms with like several kids and they have a very busy life, you have to be so easy to be booked through technology, through however that is possible, that it can just be the click of like a button on their phone or however that is, they can book you very fast, and also to be excited to come to you. Okay, I'll talk about it. So interior design is not just a nice flooring and nice wallpaper and furniture. It's about your messaging and how you tie to it. And it comes from these pieces. All of these are the pieces of the puzzle to set you for success and makes you excited every day go to work, every day to go to serve. Okay. So the next one is psychology. Okay, when you have a when you know that your demographic, then you understand the psychology of your patients. So when you have a right design team, we always look at, when we help our client to find their why, then we go to all the color psychology. Okay, and there's a whole world behind the color psychology. There's some blogs on our website. I recommend either our website or anywhere else. If you're going through the process, it's something really fascinating. So when you have the demographic, when you know the color psychology, you connect everything that is very healing. That, for example, that is like if you're in the aesthetic field, you have med spa, or if you have like a GI doctor, or if you're a dentist, you have a different psychology to connect your patient to your space through your why. Okay, it's a very sophisticated way of being, but it's very simple. If you follow the steps that I'm telling you, then it's going to be really easy to find the right psychology as far as the color and design for your space. The other thing is, when when your patient walks in, if you have a chance that you rebuilt in your space, it's better that you have a smaller reception area. You put your calling team members that booked a consultation, or however that is, you put all of this in the back. Keep it very concierge, as you know, as Michael, like really giving all of the, that's the meaning of concierge. It's about attention. It's about patient experience. It's not about like 20 people sitting, or like 5 people sitting behind the counter. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just a whole different level of patient experience. When they're walking, their booking time is really clean and very precise. They're walking, someone is walking towards them. Right now with COVID, I totally understand it. And even like with our patient, this is actually one of our projects that is under construction. It's gonna come to the end in a month or so. So this is the actual project. Okay, we instead of spending a lot of money on a huge reception, small reception, a little bit of more thought into how to make it more custom. But then when the patient walks in, like especially with COVID-19, we were talking about this, instead of like getting their information, getting their like ID or insurance card, have them all either to be filled out in the beginning, or have an iPad that is like literally in front of your patients to be cleaned and sanitized and covered with either plastic wrap or something, and hand it to them and have them to go and sit down, not in the waiting room, but in the lounge area. Know the wording that you use for your area. So in our construction drawings and blueprint, we do not call our the regular waiting room area waiting room. We call it lounge area. This is a training and the psychology of you have to adopt first. So instead of taking their information, you giving them iPad, or you have them to fill out ahead of time, or even like if you have a paper printout, you're doing it and you're like really having them to sit down and you hand it to them. Okay, that's that extra level of care. So that's the psychology part. We move on to the branding. Okay, the branding, it's an important element because that's your window to the world. Okay, if the old-fashioned ways was people would go to the bazaar and just had a shop or anything else, for example, the branding is right now is like how everyone's going to do window shopping, right? They're looking at your reviews, they're looking at your logo, they're looking at your website. Okay, if your vision is clear and your mission is clear, and when you're connecting all of this and you're talking about all of this to your marketing team, whoever is going to do your website, your logo, because when we do our design, we actually collaborate with our clients' marketing team. If they don't have one, we connect it to the company that we usually refer them. But one way or another, we always collaborate with their marketing team because we want to make sure you speak the same language the moment that your patients get to their online presence, to your logo, to your website, and then we tie the interior design to it. That means you speak the same language. And then from the patient who says, I need to go to the doctor, they said, I want to go to this doctor. And it's all as simple as that. We work with world-class doctors, the doctors that are high performance. The only difference between the high performance and world-class doctors with another next door doctor is their mindset. When you set yourself with that kind of mindset of like, my vision is clear, my mission is clear, I understand my demographic of my patients, the patient experience that I want to create for my team, for my patients, overall experience in my journey towards healing and towards giving back and creating a life that I deserve to have, going through so much of the medical school and a lot of loans and everything else. And we deal with that. We listen to our clients so much, like, okay, let's do something that is worth of like creating and doing as a world-class level. So my invitation to you is today, just go look at your logo, ask yourself, do I love it or not? Okay, as simple as that. You don't have to create a whole new logo. Sometimes just tweaking it and having the same coloring and messaging, and then looking at your website, or ask your marketing team or ask your office manager, can we just like really create a small project with looking at all of this and see if it has the same messaging after you do your vision and mission, of course. Okay, with that, you build a trust. So as a human being, we're such a clever being, we pick up on the messages. So if you speak the same language on your logo, your website, and your patient comes to your interior design, well-intentional design space, they're like, okay, they feel trusted. They want you, okay? That's how our clients, when they do, we go back to our clients and we want to know after 3, 4, 5 years, what happened to them. Money is one part of it, but their practice is so thriving because they really set themselves with this messaging right. It's a hard work in the beginning, but it's something that is you just automated for rest of your practice. Doesn't matter how many practice you have. Either it's 1 or 2 or 10. When you have your messaging right, it recognizes with your patient and clientele. So it builds a trust. They get higher level of referrals. So they see it, a lot of them, they actually, I would say 90% of them, they share that on Instagram, look at this, like, it creates that vibe and buzz between their patients, their team, so they care. So through this process of having the same vision and mission, it shows that you care because you care about your own vision and bringing that to the world. It really resonates with your patients. Okay, and I put the interior design because your interior design, as I mentioned, is your tangible representation of whatever you're branding and who you are. The next one, basically this is kind of like wrapping up and saying exactly what I said. There's some links here as far as like, you know, if you want to looking at like what can you use as a take-home tips, some UV protection for after COVID to even like install those and let your patients know that, you know, these are the things that we're doing. It's inexpensive. It's just an extra step that you go, but you assure to your patients that you're doing your hard work in the background to make sure their safety, their experience, and everything else for them is all set up. Okay, we have some links here. If you're interested, you can let us know, and you know, Michael, you can let us know, and then we share this slides with them that all the links are clickable. And just two quick things. I feel like it would, because what we do is so unique, I want to walk you through, not just for our process, but what is a successful way of going through a design. The old-fashioned way, it says, okay, hire an architect, hire a contractor, halfway through, bring a designer to select some materials and flooring and furniture, and you're good to go. It works if you want to do a Toyota, but if you want to set yourself as a Porsche or Mercedes, or you want to get to the level of like high performance, this is the way we usually work. Okay, so we have 3 tiers of packages, but it's about like, okay, the mood board here is that your why. You go through the process, okay? I'll show you, I have an example of our mood board. I want you to understand that it's nothing too complicated, but it talks about different elements of designs, your space planning, the concept design. And then so instead of the architecture and all the technical part becomes the core, your patient experience, it becomes the core. Do you see the difference? Like instead of going from the technical, buying the building, leasing the space, you doing all the hard work, but no one gonna see all of that, but the icing on the cake, which is how your design and the vibe and the feeling is gonna be look like. And I recommend that you go through these steps. Because of the time, I don't want to go through every step of the way, but this is a good map, and it's proven to us. That's why it's called the proven system. We went through these revisions over and over in the last several years until we got it. Because we wanted to make sure this is not just a concept and good idea. It's exactly about, does this work or not? Okay. For example, I'll show you a 3D. You have to have a 3D. You have to request from your designer that, you have to have 3D to see before you step. So this is what we do. Before we even go to construction with our clients, we give them a 3D if they're in the premium or essential package, that see the end result before you even walk into construction, and save yourself a lot of time and money. And I'll show you why. Because if you don't like something, before you even order material, contract or order materials or anything else, you see it. If you see the furniture in the high quality 3D, you don't have to waste your time and energy, because the way, this is the experience we have. The way we think in my design team and the way that the contractor think and our client thinks, they're totally different. Everyone has a different level of imagination. But if you're looking at one single image, then everyone's is very clear. You can't just guesstimate on that, right? And then other part when it goes to construction. So hopefully this map to be helpful for you if you're going to go through the more major remodeling or opening a new practice or however that is. Just keep that in mind. Like the old-fashioned ways is always, it's what get us here. If you want to go to the world class, the higher level, you got to think differently. You have to do things differently. Okay, so hopefully that will be helpful for you. This is the example of the mood board. Okay, this is what I mentioned in the beginning. So for these specific clients, that I'll show you the 3D for this as well. Okay, so it's just a one project. The clients there were 3 doctors in one practice. Okay, so it makes it way more difficult. We spent a lot of time to make sure we get it right. Okay, so they were in a more high-end area. Their budget was tight. They had big dreams. They wanted to make sure, the biggest thing that they wanted to tell their client, their vision was, we want to deliver the highest quality of service that is ever possible in our field. Okay, that was their main message. So when we put all of these color psychologists together, which is a presentation that we do for our clients, which I'm not going to get there, it's about how you contrast between the luxury that they really wanted to go more upscale with the tight budget they had, but we had to tell them, okay, it's not about being bling bling to wow your clients. It's about that settlement of cleanness, comfortable, classy. Okay, so and it's a very subtle way that you mix gray with taupe or like a neutral color. Okay, it's a very hard way of doing it, but if you're looking at this palette, excuse me, and then bringing a brass and contrasting it with like a graphite and like kind of a more black color, it's just a very nice movement throughout. There's a harmony, their messaging, their logo is exactly the same way, and their website is exactly the same way. So if you put their logo, their website, and this mood board all together, you know exactly this is from the same practice. So this is what you want. You have to be exactly like, if they show you 100 different mood board and they show you this one with their brand, it's like, okay, this is the one. So you have to recognize it. Okay. So let me go to the next one. This is their space planning. This is how, actually, so this is under construction right now. So this is for the new world, to be 6 feet apart, being, being very like, more intentional about how to schedule your patients, so it's not like so many people sitting in the lounge area. And this is exactly the one that this area, if you can look at my cursor, this is right here is the check-in area, and they were planning to make a big reception on this area. This is kind of a lab area for this practice, but we put two end of the project in the back. All the team are sitting for any phone calls, for any scheduling, for anything else. One person sitting in the front. When the patient walks in, they get up, they approach them, they say welcome, and they guide them through this lounge area. So we like really intentionally, we put more furniture, but they gonna actually seat patients like 6 feet apart. We actually like calculate all of this. And then the patient's gonna go back. It depends on which direction they have to go, and the next patients will walk in, okay? Wow. I just wanted to give you this kind of a, this is a little bit larger space planning as far as the space. Usually, I think is a sweet spot for even like a general practitioner, or if you don't do any kind of like specific procedure, like 1,200 square feet is a very sweet spot for like space planning. So it's not very tight. You still can do a break room for your staff. Your staff, caring about your staff is super important, okay? That's part of your creating a successful practice. You know how they says happy wife, happy life? Happy staff, happy business. If you create even a small place for your team, that there is a, there's a break room, they can sit down, for even 5-10 minutes, just to relax. It shows that you care. So when your team approaching and welcoming your patient, they feel confident. I would say 99.9% of the time, all the clients that we work with, they have a fantastic relationship with their team. That's important, because when your patient walks in or they call, they don't talk to you first as a medical practitioner, as a doctor. They talk to your team. So if you create that relationship, you already create a raving fan that they're gonna deliver the message of vision and mission. So it's important. When it comes to space planning, think about your team. Get their feedback. What works, what doesn't work. Okay, and that we do that for our clients for space planning, and we make sure, okay, if one person doesn't have the enough knowledge, or like we interview several different part or the team members of the practice. Okay, so because you just as a doctor, you're focusing on the healing, you're focusing on serving, but everyone else is putting the flat platform for you to see the patients. But that flow is like dating. You have 3 seconds for your patients. They walk in, how they feel, okay? And that feeling gets created through your team. So caring about your team is very important. So you can have that as a reference for your, hopefully if you're creating your space or you're planning to get a new space. Again, this is a larger space, but that can be beneficial for as far as space planning and the flow. I wanted to give you an example of the 3D. I have it here. Let me click on it. It's gonna take me to, so this is a 3D on, it has a music, I just muted it. So this is a 3D that we make for our clients. This is the same project with the mood board that I showed you, okay? This is a 360 degrees, as if you're standing in the room. Every single item in this 3D is been approved by our clients. It's nothing that we wanted to make it nice or anything. From the baseboard to the curtain to the light fixture, all of this is gonna go to the space. Everything else. So I'm gonna move the cursor. You can see exactly the ceiling, the flooring, how this the check-in area is gonna be created, how this area with all the glass wall is going to be created. We put an LED light by the baseboard, how that's going to be look like. Do you even like those furniture the way it is, the artwork? We created a glass wall, the light fixture. You have to get clarity way in the beginning, okay? The accuracy of your design and the process of getting the 3D is going to save you so much time and energy that you'll be surprised what kind of experience even you're going to have to build your own practice. Okay, so this is just an example. I just wanted to show you, like for another example, this is a TV. It's it's much cheaper than a real artwork. I don't know, I think it's around $600, but it turns to a very high quality artwork. If you want to put more, like, I don't know, like educational material, the moment that you want it, you can turn it to the TV and you just switch it. And whenever you don't want it, you turn it back to artwork. So be very intentional. This is something that we help our clients based on the experience that they want to create. We select all of the different materials and everything around it. For example, this is the beverage area. So right now they cannot really use this because of the COVID, but after a while they can, have a bottle of water that is all like sealed and everything. They can like serve it to their patients, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to share this with you, and then I'm going to go back to the presentation. So this is, and I'm going to go through this in several slides very quickly. This is a women's center that we created it, and this client of ours had a very, very, very tight budget. We were every step of the way, we had to keep saying, what can we do? And she had a very high level of standards. So she got a physical therapy space, and this was the space. It was not, it's just the everyday practice. You see that, okay? We went through the vision and mission with her. We went through collaborating with their marketing team, and then we created it, and this project launched and opened last October. So I'll go to after picture. So this is the difference. Same space, extremely tight budget, but everything we did, it was super intentional. Her branding, if you go to her website, you see exactly, this is the space for her. Okay, she's serving women, entrepreneur. We created a laptop station because we knew she's attracting and her demographic that she wants to serve their entrepreneur, their woman, either they're before pregnancy or after pregnancy, they're gonna work, they want a laptop location. So we really dived into the entire psychology of their patient. Okay, so that's one of them. This one is a cardiologist doctor, and the practice was kind of old. And this time that we went and took a picture, it was a Christmas time, so just disregard all that Christmas stuff. But the team was suffering because of the lighting and everything else. And this doctor would see as such a high-end client because he's a very specialty as a heart surgery and all of the specialty that he has. And we talked about it. He said, I want it open. I want to serve our patient to say we're so welcoming, and we want to serve them from the place of openness and loving and sharing our expertise with my team with them. Wow. And this is what we created. So it's not about, again, spending a lot of money. It's like how you spend your money. Okay, there's 100 different floorings, but when you know your intention, then you create something clean, nice, and fast. Sometimes time is an essence. If you have more time, of course it's better. If you have more money, of course you can do more elaborated design. But I wanted to show you what's possible with a tight budget, okay? Next one, this one is a periodontist. Really, really, really fast project. He had to move from the first floor to from the second floor to the fourth floor. The space became available. He's like, I want it, let's lease it. He leased it, and he had to pay rent for 2 spaces. And came to us like, please help us. We went through this. We don't know how to pull it together. And I want something really amazing. There are two doctors in one practice, husband and wife, and like, we want the best, but we don't know what to do. We're halfway through the construction, but it's not coming together with our vision. So here's what we created for them.
Wow.
And this is about being very intentional. Again, because they spend a lot of money on their chairs and their sterilization room and all this. When it came to furniture and all of that, it was so hard for them. Like, what can we do? So we help them to just pick elements. Do you see that? When you have so many white and solid surfaces, you just want to have a lot of reflective surfaces to balance the space out. He wanted it, or they didn't really wanted it very modern. And so coming together, and because we helped them to get a very full intention, we created a contrast with their doors. If you see that, and the other ones, just doors and everything else, it was just bad. Like, they had to change it, but they didn't know what to do with it. So that's another example. This one is another doctor that we helped. It was extremely hard with the space planning. Such a small space, wanted the most out of every square footage, with the exam rooms, with the hallway, with the lounge area. And he really wanted to the best of the best, but the space was so tight. So here's what we created for them.
Wow.
Plastic surgeon, and it was just like, if you see the exam rooms, they're like tight, so small. The restroom is another place that we usually give a lot of attention. So the 3 focal point, if there's another episode, and I can talk about all of that. So restroom is one of our focal point for our design. And this is a little bit of a testimonial from the doctors and the pictures that I showed you. And I'll share this if you interested. I have a free 20 minutes consultation. If you have pictures, if you want to fill out the questionnaire, so ahead of time you share a lot of things, and there's a booking time for, we can have a Zoom call. Anything I can help you, especially to concierge medicine, that adding value to all of you, I'd be more than happy to do so. And the bonus, it's a whole PDF about the way we do the brand identity. So if you're interested, we can share that with you. You can just download it as a PDF, and it talks about the color psychology, just about like how we do that for our clients. And it's pretty simple, but yet like it shows you the step-by-step process. And I am ready for...
Here's a special excerpt on the Concierge Medicine Today Docpreneur Leadership Podcast. Let's lean in and listen.
Because I have had physicians say, oh, they just didn't seem excited over the phone, so I don't think I want to interview them. I would, if everything else looks good, then I would maybe say, let's go ahead and go to the site visit. Now, if you have red flags and the phone call goes poorly, then maybe that's a sign that things shouldn't move forward. But given the shortage of doctors, the limited candidate pool and all those other things, don't let a phone call rule the person out if everything else lines up. And that's what, in my mind, I would recommend going to a site visit at that point, and then incurring that expense. Yes, there's an expense in that. Incurring that expense and meeting them face to face.
You can also check out the latest industry news in concierge medicine at conciergemedicinetoday.com.
People listen now when you talk wellness, and wellness isn't just a fluffy word.